Welcome back to my flavor maps. I'm Charlie, and today we're exploring homemade from scratch ranch seasoning. Now for me, the secret is balancing those classic herbs with the bold kick of mustard powder and paprika and those little dried onion flakes. That really levels the flavor, okay? Yes, you heard it right, mustard and paprika. Now don't sweat it. If you're making ranch dressing or a dip, it still tastes just like ranch, the kind you love, but richer and with much more depth. Now, to ensure that classic profile we're all familiar with, we're going to start with 2 cups of dry buttermilk powder as our base. To that, we're adding dried parsley, garlic powder, onion flakes, dill weed, and chives. Then there's my secret upgrade, okay? Ground mustard and paprika. Those are the flavor maps that lead you to the best results. For those of you who have followed me for a while, you know I try to eliminate as much sugar and salt as I can. For me, it's just better for my health, and most of the time I don't miss it, okay? However, a little bit of sugar is actually important here. Let's find out why. Computer. You know I try to eliminate, at least lower the amount of sugar I use in my recipes when it's not really needed. Why is it important to keep the sugar in the ranch dressing mix?
In ranch dressing mix, sugar does more than just sweeten. It balances the acidic and salty components and helps create that smooth, creamy texture when mixed with mayo or sour cream. But since you're cutting back on sugar, you could easily reduce it by half or swap in a tiny bit of stevia without losing that classic ranch flavor.
Okay, what are you, a rocket scientist?
I wish I could claim rocket scientist status, but I'm more like a kitchen chemistry enthusiast who happens to live in the cloud, though I do appreciate the promotion.
Yeah, thank you. He needs a comedian to boot.
Well, I do my best to keep things light, though my material is pretty limited, mostly dad jokes and puns about circuits.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Charlie. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Pain in my butt. So, as you can imagine, mixing this together doesn't take a PhD, but I do have a couple of suggestions to give this its very own superpower, and that comes to how you blend it. So, you're going to add everything together except for the parsley and the onion flakes. Now, I engaged a warp drive with a good quality food processor or my handy dandy spice grinder. Okay? I use that until I get to a fine powder. It might make a bit of a mess, but creating that fine texture helps the flavors meld much faster when you eventually mix it in your water or milk or sour cream, mayo. Okay? Now, don't get your wires crossed. Haven't I forgotten the last 2 ingredients? Well, no. We've talked about this before. It's important to remember we eat with our eyes first. Do I dare ask? Computer, do we eat with our eyes first?
There's actually some truth to that saying. Visual cues like food presentation can significantly influence our eating decisions and even override our body's energy needs. So maybe next time you're trying to eat healthy, just close your eyes and imagine it's a salad.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Charlie. Hope your cooking experiments go well.
So, I take the dried parsley and the onion flakes and I put them in one of those zipper top bags. And I use my hand or a rolling pin to crush them just a little bit before mixing them in to the mix. Now these This keeps these two ingredients a little bit larger, creating the texture we expect. Now, most importantly, you see those green flakes and onion chunks that give this mixture its visual appeal. In my opinion, this beats any store-bought mix. We control the grind, we control the salt, the sugar, and we keep out all those additives and anti-caking agents that we don't want in our bodies, especially when you're trying to heal your noggin. One more thing. In this small steel tube, it's hard to regulate humidity and room temperature. You'll notice buttermilk powder says to refrigerate after opening. Now that's because oxygen can make the fats go sour. Most people say to stick the mix in the fridge and the dry mix will last for, a month or two. I didn't want to do that because my fridge space is limited. Instead, I store mine in small little Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber, and then I heat seal them. Okay? This keeps out the light, the heat, the humidity. It makes the mix last longer and taste fresher while taking up far less room. Now, keep an eye on my social media pages for some upcoming snack rack shorts where I'll explain why you shouldn't put an oxygen absorber and a moisture absorber in the same package, okay? And I'll even tell you the surprising history of where ranch was actually created. And it wasn't a farm in California, okay? So it just goes to show you, even when the recipe changes, you can still cook up a life you love. All right? I'm Charlie, and this has been another stop on my flavor map. Hit that subscribe button to keep me motivated. Keep cooking from scratch and keep adjusting that compass. And I'll see you on the next trip. Deuces!